world moves fast. Your workday, even faster. Pitching products, drafting reports, analyzing data. Microsoft 365 Copilot is your AI assistant for work. Built into Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and other Microsoft 365 apps you use. Helping you quickly write, analyze, create, and summarize. So you can cut through clutter and clear a path to your best work. Learn more at Microsoft.com/M365 Copilot.
Dripping in gold? That's cool. Dripping in Velveeta's supremely creamy golden cheesiness? That's respect. Elevate your drip with Velveeta's range of outrageously delicious dips and dishes. Shells, cheese, melty blocks, and heat and eat queso that go all in on indulgence. Flex on your fam with a creamy, cheesy masterpiece and go all in on what you love with Velveeta. Respect the drip and satisfy your cravings. Bring home the drip with Velveeta.
What if one of the biggest things holding your program back is this? You're trying to call every play and lead the entire team at the same time. A lot of coaches believe elite head coaches must call plays themselves to prove control, prove expertise, and prove they're the best football mind in the building. Especially at the high school and small college level, I think the fear there is real. The idea is if I hand off play calling, I lose authority. If I delegate, game day turns into chaos. If it goes bad, it's on me anyway. I get it. I've lived in those tensions before with coaches at every level, including myself. But what if delegating play calling is not a risk to your authority? What if it's a path to becoming a more effective coach? Today, I want to challenge that belief head on because the evidence is right in front of us. It's in the NFL, big college, small college, and high school football, and the lived experience of winning programs. You don't have to call plays to be elite, and in many cases, you become more elite when you stop. Let's get into it. Quick break and a word about our partner, Modern Football Technology. If you want more control as a head coach, you don't necessarily have to do that by play calling. You can do it by understanding the insights of the game so that then what you delegated to your coordinators is something you can keep an eye on. Where are you explosively, efficiency-wise? What can you guide as an adjustment and help your coordinator with? On the defensive side of the ball, are things just not hitting for you? Are the blitzes you plan not hitting? Do you need to turn up the pressure because of the time in the game? Those are things you can manage, and having a tool like Modern Football Technology will get you there quicker. Book a demo with them and check it out. Go to modernfootball.com.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. Stop waiting around for the perfect candidate. Instead, use Indeed sponsored jobs to find the right people with the right skills fast. It's a simple way to make sure your listing is the first candidates see. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs have 4 times more applicants than non-sponsored jobs. So go build your dream team today with Indeed. Get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
Let's talk about the myth that keeps coaches stuck. And the myth is simple. If I don't call plays, I'm not really in control. But control is not the same as command. Control says I touch everything, whereas command says I build systems that win with or without my fingerprint on every call. And head coaches who stay trapped in call sheets often miss bigger levers that decide games, like clock management, momentum management, sideline discipline, personnel rhythm, fourth down strategy, 2-minute sequencing, and the overall emotional state of your team. So if the eyes are always on the next call, the vision narrows, and when vision narrows, so does the leadership behind it. So let's go to the NFL as evidence that delegation is a competitive advantage. Let's start with Nick Sirianni. Nick Sirianni and the Philadelphia Eagles have been a clear example of sustained success with delegated offensive play calling. He's leaned into a true head coach role with coordinators handling the call sheet. But early in his tenure, when he called plays, the Eagles opened 3-6 and struggled with execution details and penalties. When he handed that play calling to the coordinator and shifted to the big picture leadership, the team stabilized and took off. That's what's called strategic role clarity. And Coach Sirianni is not alone. You can look at John Harbaugh at Baltimore, now with the Giants. He was a Super Bowl champion, a long-term contender. Mike Tomlin, another example in Pittsburgh. No losing seasons across nearly 2 decades. They're not passive head coaches. They're elite leaders who hire great coordinators, empower them, and lead the entire operation. They're CEO coaches. Looking at a cautionary tale from 2025, on the other side of things, you have Dan Campbell, who built Detroit into a contender by focusing on culture, leadership, and delegation with strong coordinators. But in November of 2025, after inconsistencies on offense, he took over those play calling duties himself, starting in Week 10, and gave an immediate spark with over 500 yards of offense, and they won 44-22 over Washington, scoring on every possession before the kneel downs. But after that, the consistency became harder to sustain. In December, they struggled and they missed the playoffs, and later Coach Campbell graded his own performance as a freaking F for missing the playoffs. In the offseason, he's hired a new coordinator and is signaling a return to that delegated structure. Even great head coaches can get overloaded when they add play calling on top of everything else required to lead a team. So the lesson is not never call plays, it's to know what it costs you when you do. And it's not just in the NFL where this works. We have several case studies. So let's start first with Kyle Schmidt at Archbishop Spalding. He's now at Maryland as the tight ends coach, and part of that is his success there, but he built Archbishop Spalding into a Maryland power with back-to-back state championships. Pivotal shift was moving away from play calling himself to a design it and step back approach. By delegating, he was able to focus on game management, analytics-informed decisions, the full program leadership, sideline oversight, and really empowering his staff. And that's what shifted them to a championship-level execution and sustained results in multiple state championships. I think another great example is at Duncanville High School in Texas, Reginald Samples, who's transformed Duncanville into one of Texas's premier programs. In his coaching journey, a defining move was stepping away from play calling and trusting coordinators. And that allowed him to concentrate on the big picture, especially the culture and the standards. He had some situational control, but more than anything, it was the whole program leadership. And the results are something that everyone can see. They've had deep playoff runs, disciplined football, and a yearly standard of contention deep into the playoffs. A third example is Tom Perkovich at Susquehanna, moving to Albany now in the FCS as a head coach. And while he was at Susquehanna, he deliberately moved offensive play calling to his coordinator, Mike Wien. And it wasn't overnight and wasn't reckless or careless. It was something that he phased in, and it started in practice segments first, as he explained on the podcast. Then his offensive coordinator took over situational calls. So first he mentioned third down packages, became a delegation, and then eventually broader game responsibilities and full control over the offense. What that allowed Coach Perkovich to do was stay engaged, but without micromanaging and second-guessing in public. And that really allowed that coordinator to develop that identity. And the outcomes obviously are clear. Stronger trust inside of the staff, better resilience, leadership growth for his assistants, sharper program execution in the process that helped build a winning environment and set the stage for him to be able to move as a head coach onto the FCS level at UAlbany. So no, delegation is not for franchises with massive staffs only. It works where resources are thinner and coaches wear even more hats and might even work better there. So let's shift the focus here to the assistant coaches. So how do you earn the keys to the car? If you want play calling responsibility, you need to know that head coaches rarely delegate to potential. They delegate to trust. And that trust gets built through patterns that you show, not promises. So here's how you earn it. Some ideas here. Master the fundamentals of your current role. Win those details, show that you can put together tight plans, clear scouting reports, you're developing your position, you're making smart in-game adjustments with your position, and then build that to maybe being able to command some of those situations like they did at Susquehanna. But remember, if your details are sloppy, no head coach is giving you the call sheet. Number 2 is prove you understand the entire game. Don't live inside just your side of the ball. Understand bigger things like clock management, special teams flow, and how they affect the game, personnel stress points, complementary football logic, and how your plan helps the other 2 phases. When you think like the head coach, you get treated like a head coach level thinker. Number 3, be proactive and over-prepared. Bring answers, not questions. Show up with the primary plan, contingency plans, change-up menus, if-then adjustments. Delegation goes to the person who lowers stress for the head coach, and that's very important. Lowering his stress, making him feel that things are under control. Number 4, take phased ownership. I think Susquehanna provided a great example. Ask for responsibility first. Maybe play calling in practice. Maybe it's third down. Maybe you own 2-minute or backed up or goal line, but pick a situation and say, Coach, I would love to help here. I would love to show that I can handle this responsibility. Then go and stack wins, and then that gets expanded. Then eventually that's how you get that long-term handoff of here's the keys to the car. Number 5, communicate with humility and alignment. You absolutely never want to undercut the head coach publicly. You don't want to make it your offense versus his team. So ask better questions of the head coach. How can I support your vision better this week? What do you want us to emphasize in late game scenarios? Where do you want my communication tighter on the sideline flow? The humility in that approach will speed building trust. 6, at all costs, you need to protect the head coach. So when a call fails, own it. Don't make excuses. Don't finger point. When a coach knows you will absorb pressure and stay loyal, the delegation gets a lot easier. 7, build social trust, not just tactical trust. Players and assistants must respect your leadership, not just your whiteboard expertise. So if you handle play calling and you would split the room, you're not ready. If handing to you strengthens the room, you're close. Shifting now to the head coach side of things, thinking again about delegation and what works for head coaches. For most high school and small college head coaches, delegation creates a real competitive edge. From a big picture standpoint now, you can see the whole field, not just the next snap. You go to managing clock, sequence, game script pivots, emotional momentum, sideline discipline, staff development, and retention. Great assistants want autonomy. So if you suffocate every decision, you're going to lose good people. Delegation requires a pipeline of leaders and keeps talented staff engaged. You want to reduce your own cognitive load. Play calling is mentally expensive, but so is head coaching, probably even more mentally expensive. So doing both at full capacity every week can really create some tunnel vision and certainly some fatigue. Delegation protects your brain, your head, your mind space in moments that swing the outcomes. I think a big one is stronger culture execution. We talk all the time. Culture is not posters. It's not the signs on the wall. It's not the sayings on a t-shirt. It's what gets reinforced in stressful moments. And if your head is buried in call sequencing all night, you miss those teachable moments that define your team identity, that build that throughout the course of the season under stress. And certainly, we could talk about exceptions. There's great head coaches and play callers. Andy Reid, Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan, guys who call plays and win big. So if play calling is clearly your superpower and your staff structure supports it, then own it. But for most coaches listening, delegation is not surrender, it's leverage. So I think it's about self-assessment. Is it time to do it? Let's take a little test here and answer these questions honestly. During games, do I feel overload and miss clock or situational details because I'm focused on the next call? Am I spending most sideline time in the sheet instead of scanning the full game? Have I felt burnout from wearing too many hats? Do I have an assistant who could call or who I can intentionally develop to call the offense or defense? Have penalties, game management issues, situational errors repeated across the last 2 or 3 seasons? Would delegation empower my staff or expose leadership gaps I've ignored? Am I holding play calling because it feels like my highest value to the team or because it feels like ownership of the program? If you said yes to several of those, especially overload and recurring game management issues, delegation may be your performance unlock. So here's some things you can do to get this started as you head into situations like spring ball. Make things operational, not emotional. So one, define responsibilities. Clarify who owns what on game day. Write communication protocols. Define override rules when you step in. 2, simulate. Spring is a time to simulate. You could do it with game film too, but run situational periods where things are delegated, the play calling's delegated, you practice headset workflow and decision timing, and you review the command and flow after each period. You still have quality control here as the head coach. Make sure it gets to what you want it to be. So when you hit it for the first time on game night this fall, you have all the answers and you guys are ready to go. And then live in those responsibilities. Assign those situations to coordinator ownership. Keep post-series review tight and objective, and track decision quality, not just the quality results of the play. Evaluate and commit to the whole thing. You want to debrief your coordinators, your full staff. You want to identify friction points and decide what it's going to be. Is it a full handoff, partial, or another phased month of doing it? So build trust with structure, not hope. If you're the head coach calling plays right now, ask the hard question. Is this helping my team win or feeding my need to control? Because the goal isn't to prove you're the smartest person with a call sheet. The goal is to build the best environment for your team to win. You want to hire well, develop well, delegate well, and then lead fully. We look at the NFL examples for some proof. It works at the highest levels. And then the case studies we pointed out, high school, small college, they give us a blueprint to do this in real time. You don't have to call plays to be elite. And sometimes the most elite thing you can do is trust your people, widen your vision, and lead the whole program. If this episode helped you, share it with your staff and discuss one question together. What role shift would make our team better this season? Answer that honestly, act on it, and your program may hit a new level. And for those of you who want better decision-making in-game, you want to be able to see as the head coach things that are happening and evaluate so that you can help your coordinators. When do we put on more pressure on defense? When do we look to be more explosive on offense? Then look at our partner, Modern Football Technology. The in-game analytics they have are able to be done in real time and give you real decision making. Go back to our episodes with Jordan Irsik, the defensive coordinator at state champion Folsom High School, or Keegan Wirtz, the defensive coordinator, now head coach at West De Pere High School in Wisconsin, also a state champion, and numerous other ones. These are tools that as a head coach now you can still feel like you have control because you're getting great insight that can help your coordinators. Check that out at modernfootball.com. The link is in the show notes.